All right. Hey guys, we're now live. So I'm joined with Abby, Kat, and Cameron, and we're discussing what's going to go down later today with the whole Grieve 2 amendment and what might happen with Theresa May. So before we just started, we're talking about potential leadership, you know, potential leadership bids. So Cameron, how about you start? 'Cause you started obviously talking about the.
So if you look what's going on in the Conservative Party, at people at the top, because backbenchers never come leader of a party in a party in government.
Yep.
So look at two people at this one. So that's Gove and Sami Javid. Now Gove is basically producing like a leadership portfolio with his environmental policies like plastic straws and things like that.
Oh, so
Now,
like.
did you see him? Did you see him at a meeting with that recyclable coffee cup?
Oh, okay. So do you mean leadership portfolio as in, oh, look what I'm doing. I'd be good as leader.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And then the other one, yes, Sami Javid, who's also making manoeuvres. If he becomes leader, imagine what the Tories do to his men. Oh, we got two female prime ministers on that Labour. We do better for women. Now with Sami Javid said, we do better for Obeying people.
Oh yeah, because obviously after the whole Rudd situation, they put him in. You know, to say, oh, we're not racist. We put in an Asian person as Home Sec.
Yeah, and also, I think he's sort of positioning himself at the moment to be PM material.
Not surprised.
And he's got the baggage in some ways
that
Gove has. And I can't, much as I prefer Mogg because he's a strong leaver, I don't know that enough people would support him, within the Conservative Party.
Yeah.
Mogg will when it comes to grassroots.
Cameron.
What, sorry?
You think Javid's got the numbers?
Oh, they both have. I think he needs like something like 40 Tory MPs or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I can imagine that would happen, the ERG would vote for him though.
Yeah.
I don't know what Mogg would do, but both Javid and Gove will have the numbers for it. But if someone Mogg does it and someone luckily gets there, if it goes to the members, Mogg will win. How unlikely that is.
Yeah, it would be.
Because I think Swiss has talked about this, how Mogg is a reverse Corbyn, because like Corbyn's true left, Mogg's true right, like true conservative, so they appeal more to the grassroots.
Yeah, and both of them haven't really got the backing of the rest of their party.
Oh yeah, because the party is more. They're very similar sort of MPs, aren't they? Like neoliberal centrist types.
Yeah, they are.
I got an idea who backed Mogg. I think he got a handful of cost supporters, like Coleman.
Oh yeah.
And he probably work around it, like people like Kwasi Kwarteng, isn't that John Redwood?
Oh yeah.
People like that.
Like the more right-wing Brexit, hard Brexit MPs, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they all know that he talks serious when it comes to Brexit, so they can get back behind that, I guess.
Yeah, and the trouble is that the MPs that are in Parliament at the moment don't really represent the voters.
Yeah.
I don't think. They're selected by their parties. They're not selected by us, are they? So if they actually have the support of grassroots.
Yeah, I'm just reading the side chat. So, Shafted and James in the side chat.
I'm just going to put so.
Yeah, and James says there's not enough hard Brexiters for Mogg to become PM. Apparently.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that could be right, James.
But then him and Angels always say there's no mandate for a hard Brexit.
Yeah, which in my opinion there is.
Yeah, there is. Because remember the referendum, like David Cameron, he said if we voted, we would get a so-called hard Brexit.
Yeah, he said if you vote to go out,
leave the single market and customs union.
Single market.
Yeah, every time he was asked,
Yeah.
he said the same thing. So
Yeah. So it's,
yeah, fudge
you know,
cake.
what is a hard Brexit if it's not that?
Yeah. Yeah, now they're talking about fudge in the side chat.
A
I
fight.
would like some fudge, actually. Fudge.
Oh, fudge.
Fudge, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and I said, anyone want any fudge? And I said if it was chocolate fudge, then sure. Yeah. I do
Yeah.
like chocolate fudge cake, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like it, but I don't eat it now. But
Yeah.
it's nice.
I haven't ever made fudge before.
No, I haven't.
You never know, I might try and make some for June the 23rd. I might make some especially.
Yeah. Complete with cannabis in the middle of it.
Yeah, why not?
That would be what the rest of them would put in. I don't know. But it's, I mean, what does everybody think is going to happen this afternoon?
Politicians, well, James says politicians lie. Fair enough, but this is the guy that ran the referendum, so whatever he said would have been taken at face value anyway. Like, Boris didn't actually run the referendum, Cameron did. It was his idea, so...
Yeah, Boris was just an add-on.
No, he
going
was
around.
I mean, he was very opportunistic. That's the only reason.
Yeah. And actually, they've actually proved that, in fact, if anything, his bus was underestimating the amount of money that comes back.
I think it was like 385 million or something.
Yeah, I can't remember the figures, but they said that the 350 million was actually an underestimate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he ran the Leave campaign with Gove. Well, one of the Leave campaigns, actually. But, James, what I'm referring to is the fact that the referendum was Cameron's idea, and he set out the terms, didn't he? So whatever Cameron said should have been taken seriously. So I'm just saying, like, his word was the most important. It wasn't Boris, it was Cameron.
Yeah, I'm just saying, search YouTube for Cameron saying out means out of single market.
Yeah. The choice is in your hands.
Yeah.
Not the full BBC.
Customs Union.
Yeah, no, he actually says it in his main speech.
Yeah, he does. And he says, if you vote out.
Yeah, and he says in his interview with Andrew Marr, he says Brexit is a risk we can avoid. And when he actually says we'll leave the single market and customs union in that interview because he says it's a risk as well.
Yeah.
And here we are. It says Times of there's a news thing, and it says Britain to leave the single market post Brexit. This is during the ref as well.
Yeah, and he said if the people vote out, that means we will leave the EU. It doesn't mean we will stay in the single market or the customs union. We will leave it completely.
Yeah.
And he kept stressing that. This is why, trying to put it on Twitter that nobody ever said we were going to leave is just so much lies, because government said it all the time.
They're right to a sense that we won't leave because the politicians don't want us to leave. That's the problem. It's not that it wasn't on the ballot paper. It was that we won't. The politicians won't allow it.
Exactly. It's because the twits that are in Parliament at the moment don't represent people.
Self-interested, aren't they? They've got backers and whatnot.
Exactly. They're the ones that benefit from remaining in the EU.
Same
with the laws.
Yeah, and then they can have all their free movement of capital and free movement of, obviously, to their villas or whatever.
Yeah. Plus they receive money from the EU and...
Yeah, was it Subri with a 6,000 donation or something?
Yeah, she's just had to put that onto the register of interests or whatever they call it.
Oh yeah.
With the 6,000.
I saw something different. It's not about Brexit, but it was the Labour Friends of Israel when they were asked. They were voting on I think something about Middle East or Palestine or something, and they were asked, go and put forth your interests. You know, you have to put your interests forward before you vote, just to, you know, make it transparent. And a ton of them stood up. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there are so many of them, and a lot of them have actually received money from it as well.
Yeah, like Labour Friends of Israel, loads of them have received money from Israel themselves to go on trips and whatnot.
Yeah, which is how they get away with it. I mean, David Lammy's a good one for that. He gets money for trips.
Oh yeah, it was the Shadow Communities guy. He gets money from them too.
Yeah, a lot of them do. You know, and if you have a look, well, it's a bit like someone paid Priti Patel, didn't they?
Oh yeah, she got paid, and then she had the secret meetings with the Israeli government, didn't she?
Yeah, but they all say, oh, it's just educational, you know, but they get like a 5-day trip, and they get 5,000 or 6,000. Who pays that much to go on a 5-day trip? Yeah,
and a lot of them, I think they were, when the recent attacks in Gaza were going on, they all went on holiday, and they got absolutely condemned for it. But I'm just thinking, why would they go on holiday when something so controversial just happened?
Yeah, exactly. You don't. I mean, they should use their own common sense. But the trouble is that the people who want to go into politics don't want to go into it because they're philanthropic and have a feeling for the people. They go in for it because it's a career where they don't have to do a lot of work for too long, and they can retire early and end up with full pensions.
Oh yeah, they've already got 70, 80 grand a year, and that's not even if they are a minister either. So,
no,
minister's pay is like 80, 85 grand onwards for the lower end, and then it goes up to 150 or so, I think.
Yeah, oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I was reading somewhere in the House of Lords. Is it the leader of the House of Lords gets about 80,000? Was it him that got more than the PM?
Who
I'm
did?
not sure about that one. The leader in the House of Lords.
Oh yeah,
they get paid. The actual Lords don't get paid, except for their supposedly daily expenses. They get 300, I think.
Yeah.
But the leader of each side gets 70 or 80,000.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and Shafton says in the chat, he says you have to get on the right side of the Jewish lobby groups to get into politics. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, you saw that with Corbyn in the second coup, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But the Jewish lobby groups, it's a bit like the gun lobby in America, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. But they have APAC in America, so it's actually even bigger there than here.
Yeah. But it's, same principle, isn't it? You scratch our back and we'll get you.
Yeah, and then that's why I think it's just a theory. That's why I think it's a big reason why they've pulled out of the UN Human Rights Charter. I think it's to please Israel. That's what I think. One of the reasons for them doing that. Yeah,
they are so well. The Jewish lobby, say in New York, is huge. You don't get anywhere in.
I mean, that's another reason. That's why they did some more strikes in Syria, I think, recently. And that wasn't the strikes that we were part of. That was America's own doing. So
I think America does what Israel tells them.
Oh yeah, I mean, but they send billions to them every year, don't they?
Yeah.
I keep seeing the joke on Twitter. One of them, the joke, they have a picture of Netanyahu and Trump, and it says one of them is the US president, the other is Donald Trump.
Yeah. That's probably about right.
It is true. But I think I was watching some more, well, if George is watching, he'll hate me saying this, but I was watching some more David Icke, and he was pointing out how a lot of most US presidents, I think all but one, I think it might have been John F. Kennedy, were all part of the Israeli lobby or something.
Now, just to stop you, I've just put the House of Commons on, and they're debating the EU withdrawal bill.
Oh,
Dominic Grieve standing up.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
bring that up on? Can you bring that up on?
Where's I can try and stream the video if it'll work, but where's this?
On Parliament, you know, the BBC Parliament.
BBC Parliament, BBC iPlayer. Here we go. Watch
Yeah.
live. House of Commons.
Yeah.
Need to sign in and watch. Oh fuck, gotta sign in. I should be all right because I'm piggybacking off my parents' TV license because that's part of my account for the BBC, so should be all right.
Yeah.
Got a TV license. Watch now. But the thing is, everyone's gonna. Oh, the Grieve is up.
Yeah.
I'll see. I'll try and stream.
If not, I can turn the sound up.
Yeah, no, I'll try and stream it from my end because I got the sound up too. So.
Okay. Right, can't hear the sound on yours.
Okay, I'll have a look. Just a second. Oh, I need to sort out my settings.
Lies in the hands of this House, and in the first part of this statement, in the power of the Speaker.
Can you hear that?
I then insist that a second piece be put into it, which I will read out. It says, if I may say so, it's something which ought to be blindingly obvious. The government recognises that it is open to ministers and members of the House of Commons to table motions on and debate matters of concern, and that, as is the convention, parliamentary time will be provided for this. And the truth
I think I've edited something. Just let me know. I've edited broadcast large video that I did for my audience and hide the other video feeds. I don't know. I'll have a go with that. Just let's just see. I'll have a look.
Yeah. If not, if you put
if not, you can keep playing. I'll just see if it'll work again.
Yeah, and you can put the picture on and I can turn the sound up.
That's a great idea, actually.
The power to do it. And the suggestion coming from... I shall give way to the...
I'm grateful. The bit I don't understand is, in the last few years, there have been lots of things carried by this House. Motions tabled by the Backbench Business Committee, by the opposition, by ordinary members of the House. The government has just let them go through and then completely ignore them. The only thing that has legislative effect is legislation. That's why we have to have a meaningful vote, not a pretend one.
Yes, the right honourable gentleman is right, but we take just a pause and consider where we are. If we accepted if the government were to concede the motion as drafted, the amendment as drafted in the Lords for an amendment to the motion, it must be understood by the House that the government could ignore it. And I can assure the House it would not be enforceable in any court of law. No, it's really got to be understood. It would not. It could not be enforceable in any court of law because that would entirely undermine the rights and privileges of this place. It would be for us to enforce it. And of course, the ultimate sanction that this House has is a motion of no confidence. But short of that, there are other means by which the House can, in fact, bring it. Now, in view of that acknowledgement, I won't. In view of that acknowledgement, I have to say I weigh that and the clear words of this statement against what my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, has told me about her anxieties. And my judgment, and it's a purely personal one, is that my view is that if that is the issue, then having finally obtained, I have to say with a little bit more difficulty than I would have wished, the obvious acknowledgement of the sovereignty of this place and its over the executive in black and white language, I am prepared to accept the government's difficulty and support it. I'm prepared to accept the government's difficulty and in the circumstances to accept the form of amendment it was. I'd like to emphasise one other point. I shall formally move at the end of this. I don't wish to deprive the House of the right to vote on this if it wishes. It's absolute right to disagree, but speaking personally, it seems to me that with that acknowledgement having been properly made, with that acknowledgement having been properly made, I am content to go because I want to sit down. But finally, I just want to say this. The difficult. No, I wish to end. Finally, I want to say this. We do face some real difficulties at the moment. It's rightly said that those who the gods want to destroy, they first render mad. And I have to say, there's enough madness around at the moment to make one start to question whether collective sanity in this country has disappeared. Every time sensible, reasoned argument tries to be presented in this House, vilification and abuse follows, death threats for right honourable and honourable friends. There is a hysteria which completely loses sight of the issues that we have to really consider. And I have to say there's an atmosphere of bullying which has the directly opposite consequence, that it puts people into a position where they feel that they are unable to compromise, because by doing so they will be immediately described as having lost, as if these were arguments to be lost or won. The issue must be that we get it right. And of course, the other end of the spectrum, Mr. Speaker, we get some really ridiculous things. I had the Daily Mail crawling over the garden of my house in France. And I don't know quite what they were looking for. I think they were looking for silos in which missiles might be aimed. And the mansion of my right honourable friend, an honourable member for North East Somerset, there is a history of monsters and witches in the area where I had a holiday home, chucking megaliths backwards and forwards across the channel. Such is the state, Mr. Speaker, of our discourse. But I will just say this. That is the very thing that we must avoid. We are going to have differences, and I finally say to the government this. Those differences may extend to my, as a Member of Parliament, taking a different view if there's no deal from what the government might wish. If that happens, in order to protect the interests of the British people, and the responsibility in those circumstances lies as much with us as it does with the government.
Order. The question is that Amendment B be made. I just very gently point out we have fewer than 45 minutes and I do want to accommodate other backbench members. Mr. Peter Grant.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm grateful for the chance to take part in this debate. Well, once again, Mr. Speaker, we'll be hearing the siren voices of the hardline no-deal Brexiteers, of whom there are some in this place, claiming that they, and they alone, have a monopoly on respect for democracy, a monopoly on respect for Parliament, and a monopoly on a patriotic. They're going to demonstrate their regard for democracy by unilaterally and retrospectively changing the question that was asked in the referendum in 2016, assuming that the answer will stay the same. They're going to demonstrate their respect for Parliament and doing their damnedest to keep Parliament out of playing any meaningful role in the most important events any of us are ever likely to live through. And they demonstrate their patriotic love for their country by pushing an agenda that threatens to fundamentally damage the social and economic foundations on which their country and indeed all of our respective countries were built. Because, Mr. Speaker, there should be no doubt whatsoever about what the hardliners are seeking to achieve here. They tell us that these amendments are about attempting to stop Brexit. They tell themselves that they're worried that these amendments might stop a cliff edge, no deal Brexit. And Mr. Speaker, that is precisely what I want these amendments to stop. They seeking to create a situation where, if, as seems increasingly likely by the day, a severely weakened Prime Minister, possibly in the last days of her Prime Ministership, comes back from Brussels with a miserable deal that nobody can welcome. They want to make sure the only option is to cash out of the European Union with no agreement on anything. And while I hear the Secretary of State's words and warning that you don't go into a negotiation if you can't afford to walk away, can I remind the Secretary of State that on the day the government sent that Article 50 letter, they started to walk away. From that day, they had no deal. The negotiation now is to try to salvage something from the wreckage of that disastrous mistake. The far-right European Research Group economists believe that their opposition to the amendment is simply about stop allowed to tell the government what to do. Mr. Speaker, I'm no expert in English history, but I thought the Civil War was about whether Parliament had the right to tell the monarch and the government what to do. But the real reason, I'll give you.
Does the honourable gentleman not see that this Parliament finds itself in a very strange position? This Parliament is actually not wanting to have a vote. In fact, I think they had a vote not to hold a vote. But if they don't want to have a vote, it's legitimate to have a vote, not to hold a vote. Absolutely bizarre dereliction of responsibility by this Parliament. And this is why we need Scottish independence and not the mess in the cabinet.
My honourable friend from Highland and Yard makes a very valid point. But the reason that some in this House are determined not to give Parliament a meaningful vote is because they're worried that an overwhelming majority of parliamentarians on all sides of the House might vote against the cliff edge scenario that they have already plotted out for us. The real reason that some on the opposite benches and even one or two on the opposition benches have to act now to block off the chance of this so-called sovereign parliament having any powers whatsoever over this is that they know that if they put their two agenda before the House, it will be defeated, and in all probability it will be defeated by a majority that is numbered in the hundreds rather than the tens or the dozens. The government has to be protected at all costs from Parliament because Parliament might do something the government wasn't like. Isn't that what parliaments are for? Especially a parliament in which the government has lost its democratic mandate to form a majority government by its own cynical calling of an unnecessary and assumptive election. The Prime Minister has said, please don't accept these amendments because she doesn't want to have her hands tied. Well, Mr. Speaker, it's none of my business whether the Prime Minister likes having her hands tied and feet tied or anything else tied. But surely the whole point in a parliament is so that there is somebody with democratic credibility and democratic accountability to keep the government in check when it is clear to everyone that the government is going in the wrong direction. I'll give you a minute. And if plunging over a cliff edge is not the wrong direction, I don't know what is.
Yeah. And whilst he has indicated that it's not his business whether the Prime Minister has her hands tied, feet tied, or what else, would he accept that it is in the interest of the country for the Prime Minister to have the freedom to go and negotiate the best deal for the country, and Parliament can't negotiate the detail of that deal, only the Prime Minister can do that? Which country?
Well, Mr. Speaker, nothing in the amendment that we're speaking to, or the amendments we're speaking to today, contains any desire for Parliament to be involved in the negotiations. But what we're being asked to believe is that there is no possibility at all that the negotiations will fail. That's what we're being asked to believe, except that those who give us that promise, some of them are hoping that negotiations will fail, because some of them have already decided that they want to push for a no-deal Brexit, despite the calamitous consequences that were outlined earlier by the right honourable member on the opposition bench.
I'd like to thank my honourable friend for his speech. Does he agree with me that this is to do with trying to hold the Tory party together, negotiating amongst themselves as we speak, rather than the benefit of the whole United Kingdom?
My honourable friend and constituency neighbour makes a very, very valid point. In fact, let's not remember the only reason we had a referendum in the first place was because it was going to bring the Tory party together. Mr. Speaker, the reason that some on opposite benches get so hot under the collar about the danger of giving Parliament a meaningful vote is because if the House They say if the House approves the Harborough Assembly considering something, the claim it could subsequently be used as a basis for a legal challenge. Now, I'm not going to gainsay the words of the Right Honourable and very learned member for Beaconsfield. But what's interesting is that the two cases that they quote in their own document to prove that it could lead to a legal challenge, both of them resulted in rulings that actions of the House, whether it was a resolution, a committee decision, or an order of Parliament, did not have the status of an Act of Parliament. Interestingly, one of the cases was about a pornography publisher who sued Hansard for damaging his reputation as a publisher. Mr. Speaker, this briefing also contains a dark warning about what could happen if the government loses the vote at the end of the process. It could undermine the government's authority, it could undermine the government's position. In fact, in their exact words, this could produce an unstable zombie government. Sadly, Mr. Speaker, the briefing doesn't go on to give any indication as to how any of us would be able to tell the difference. But the real giveaway is in the third of the three practical problems they see in the Lord's amendment. Again, quoting directly, Mr. Speaker, it effectively seeks to take no deal off the table. And that, Mr. Speaker, is the real agenda here. I want no deal off the table. The Secretary of State doesn't want no deal, so why is it still on the table? But the intention, Mr. Speaker, is that not under any circumstances will Parliament have the right to pull us back from the cliff edge. It's not just about keeping no deal on the table. It's about making sure that by the time we come to make the decision, there is nothing else on the table other than no deal. Mr. Speaker, in my younger days, which I can just about vaguely remember, I used to be a very keen armchair mountaineer. I loved reading books about mountaineering and hill walking. And one of the books I read was an account of the first ever ascent of the Matterhorn in 1865. Now, the Matterhorn, unlike some cliff edges, didn't have safety barriers. Edward Himper and his 6 companions got to the summit, but during the descent, 4 of the party fell over a cliff to their deaths after the rope holding the group together had broken. There were, of course, suggestions of foul play and not the most foul, but what had happened was that the rope just wasn't strong enough. In fact, if the rope hadn't broken, it's quite likely that all 7 would have been killed. Mr. Speaker, there are hardline Brexiteers in this House who are determined to drag us over that cliff edge. I want Parliament to be allowed to erect a safety barrier, not to stop those who want to get to the bottom of the cliff from reaching their destination, but to make sure that anybody who gets there in one piece. Yes. And while, as I've made perfectly clear before, I have no intention of usurping the democratic right of the people of England to take good or bad decisions for themselves. No one has the right to usurp the democratic decisions of the people of Scotland. Yeah. And let me just remind the government once again that if they seek to drag their people over the cliff edge, our people are not going to follow. And they might well find, in fact they will find, that there is not a rope in existence that is strong enough to hold Scotland to their country if their country seeks to take us over that cliff edge.
With immediate effect, a 4-minute limit on backbench speeches will apply. Mr. Philip Davis.
Mr. Speaker, can I first of all say that I very much agree with my right honourable and learned friend from Beaconsfield about the nature of political debate in this country. He's absolutely right to point that out, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. The second point I want to make, Mr. Speaker, is that many people in this House seem to forget that there's been 2 meaningful votes. The first meaningful vote was this House deciding to give a referendum to the British people. And the second meaningful vote was the referendum result itself, in which the people voted to leave the European Union. They were meaningful votes. Now the point, I'm not going to waste time's limited. The point is, Mr. Speaker, is that what's happened since then is that some people who didn't like the result of that referendum, and perhaps didn't even expect the result of that referendum, have now found a newfound enthusiasm for the rights of this Parliament to decide all sorts of things, because they were quite happy for all these powers to be given over to the European Union willy-nilly. Now they've got this newfound enthusiasm that this House should decide everything. That if only, I'm not going to give away, if that only were the case before. Now I do excuse from this, Mr. Speaker, my right honourable and learned friend, the member for Rushcliffe. He didn't vote to have a referendum. and therefore there is absolutely no reason why he should feel in any way bound by the results of that referendum. And I perfectly respect that, his position has been entirely consistent. What I have no time for, Mr. Speaker, are people, I'm not going to give way, even though he is the father of the House. I'll give way to the father.
To make it clear, this totally irrelevant argument that we're trying to reverse the referendum is irrelevant to me as it is to any other of my honourable and right honourable friends. This House voted for an enormous majority to invoke Article 50. We're now trying to debate and have parliamentary influence over what we're going to do when we've left and what the form of our new arrangements in Europe and the rest of the world will be. So could you please stop yet again arguing, not just him, I mean, he's the ultimate member to do it, in introducing this totally irrelevant argument and trying to say what is wrong with the process actually set out in the Lord's Amendment. What is the excessive power that it apparently gives to this House to have a say when the negotiations are finished?
Well, I'm afraid, Mr. Speaker, that the public are not fooled by the motives of people who are clearly wanting to delay, frustrate, or overturn the results of the referendum. It's a shame some of them can't admit it. The Right Honourable Member, the Shadow Secretary of State, said that people had said over a long period of time that if we did this, Brexit would be frustrated. If we did that, Brexit would be frustrated. Can I suggest to the Shadow Secretary of State, he gets out of London, he gets out of it, because what people around the country feel is that Brexit is being frustrated. It's already been frustrated by a great deal by this House. And so the idea that he thinks Brexit hasn't been frustrated, he needs to well, my right honourable friend who has taken a vow of independence since he lost his job as a government minister that was never before, I would invite him to get out. He's very welcome up to Yorkshire to actually see what, he speaks to people, Mr. Speaker, he should speak to people. The fact is, Mr. Speaker, is that I'm perfectly content for this House to have a vote. Absolutely, it should have a vote on whether it wants to accept the deal negotiated by the government that it comes back with. Absolutely right that this House votes on whether or not to accept that deal. And the government should accept the vote of this House. What it cannot do, having decided to give people a vote in a referendum, it cannot find some strange parliamentary mechanism in order to frustrate and overturn the result. He didn't give way, and I'm not going to give way either because time is limited. We cannot vote to reverse the decision of the referendum. And people outside this House, Mr. Speaker, need to know this very clearly today, that those people, I'm not going to give way, there isn't time. I want people to know outside of this House that those people today who are voting for this meaningful vote, that if the government decides that no deal is better than a bad deal, it doesn't go to show how out of touch this place is that it's even a contentious statement that no deal is better than a bad deal. I mean, it's a statement of the blindingly obvious, but it's amazing that some people find that a contentious statement. Mr. Speaker, I am not giving way to let other people have time. People should bear that. I'm giving way to the father of the House. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate that the Honourable Labour Broxo doesn't like hearing arguments with which he disagrees, but I'm going to plough on regardless, despite her chuntering from a sedentary position. The point is, Mr. Speaker, that the fact is that no deal is better than a bad deal is blindingly obvious to anybody with even a modicum of common sense. What people in this House are being invited to do is that if the government decide that no deal is better than a bad deal, that this House should somehow be able to say to the government, you've got to continue being a member of the European Union while you go back and renegotiate this and renegotiate that. I cannot stand aside and allow that to happen, Mr. Speaker, and I don't think the British people will find anybody in this House who votes that way. And let nobody be in any doubt, anybody who votes for this meaningful vote today, their constituents should know they are voting to try and keep us in the European Union against their will.
Mr. Hilary Benn. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. May I say to the honourable gentleman that the argument he's just advanced is not
true. It is not true. And the fact is, I think there are a very small number of members of the House who would cheerfully jump over the edge of a no-deal cliff. And that is why we're having this argument this afternoon. Now, I say to the Right Honourable and learned member for Beaconsfield, for whom I have enormous respect, he is right when he says that this is a very fraught, difficult, tense debate. Passions are running high. Given that the referendum split the country right down the middle, that is not entirely surprising. But I would just gently say to him that given the experience he went through last week, where he thought he had an assurance, and then discovered that he did not, if I were him, I would be very, very cautious about accepting further assurances, but I respect the decision that he makes. And the reason I would be cautious is for the reason that I put the question to the Secretary of State, who is no longer in his place. I listened very carefully to what the Secretary of State said, and I heard no explanation, no justification, and no argument for why the government is prepared for the House to debate an amendable motion to approve the withdrawal agreement, because that is what the Secretary of State indicated when he came before the Select Committee. It's happy to do that, but when it comes to deciding what takes place in the event that the nation is facing the prospect of no deal, the government is insisting on having a motion in neutral terms, which may or may not allow the Speaker to come to the rescue of the House to allow the motion to be declared amendable. But as I read Standing Order 24B, as long as the government does its job in drafting the motion, the Speaker will have no choice but to declare it a motion in neutral terms, and therefore is not amendable. I will give way to my right honourable friend.
Does this not give enormous power to you, Mr. Speaker, which is all very well, because you are a Speaker who has stood up for the rights of this House, for the rights of backbenchers, and for the majority of this House to be able to have meaningful votes. But were Mr. Speaker to fall under a bus in the next few months, what guarantee would there be that the future Speaker would stand up for this House's rights in the same way that you have?
The road safety code.
Mr. Henry Benn, it's not for me to advise you, Mr. Speaker, but please don't cross any roads between now and the end of this process. It seems to me that the government's intention throughout has been to seek to neuter this House when we come to the end of the process. Because we're talking about the possibility of facing no deal at all. And I thought my right honourable and learned friend who spoke from our front bench put it out very, very clearly, because not only would we be facing economic difficulty of the most serious kind, impacts on trade, on our services industry, on our broadcasting, on the security of the nation, because if with no deal in place, how would the exchange of information continue? These are not minor matters, these go to the heart of the government's responsibility to make sure that we are safe and the industry works and taxes are raised and public services are paid for. That is why people are getting exercised about this. This is not some amendment on one bill. It is the most important decision the country has faced for generations. And secondly, as my right honourable friend pointed out, we're not ready. We're not ready to cope with that consequence. And therefore, I just say to members, contemplate this for a moment. If, because the House can't do anything about it, we fall off the edge of the cliff, and future generations look at us and say, what did you do at that moment?
Absolutely.
What did you do? Didn't you say anything? Are we really, as a House of Commons, going to allow our hands to be bound and say, well, at least I took note of what was happening? Mr. Speaker, our responsibility is not to take note. It is to take charge, to take responsibility, to do our job. And I will give way to the right honourable and learned gentleman.
I can assure him that if he looks at the standing orders of this House, if this House wants to take charge at that point, it will be able to do so. And I will join with him if necessary in doing just that.
I absolutely bow to the right honourable and learned gentleman's expertise, but as my right honourable friend pointed out earlier in the debate, I'm afraid, sitting on these benches with this government, we have seen too many occasions, time and time again, where the House has used the standing orders to debate a matter and pass a motion, and the government sits there and says, we're not taking any notice of you whatsoever. And that is why ensuring that we have the right to amend a motion is now, in the next few minutes, in the hands of this House. There will be no further opportunity to take back control, and I hope the House will do so by voting in favour.
I urge members to help each other. Antoinette Sandbach.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm grateful again to the other place for sending us this amendment. This is an issue that I've been concerned about since the referendum, and I have been quite open in my views around the need for a meaningful vote and parliamentary sovereignty. This, in my view, is about our country's future and ensuring that we enhance and not reduce our democracy. When re-elected last year, my constituents were under no illusions about how important I thought a meaningful vote was, as I had already made my concerns public and indeed voted for one during the Article 50 process. Views may differ regarding the desirability of no deal. In my view, it would be utterly catastrophic for my constituents and the industries in which they work. But surely all sides welcome the certainty this amendment brings to the process. We are often accused of wanting to tie the government's hands. Nothing could be further from the truth. How can this amendment tie the hands of the government during negotiations when it concerns steps that should be taken when negotiations have broken down? In other words, it concentrates on events after the end of the negotiations. I support the government's negotiation, and I strongly believe that the Prime Minister will succeed in her negotiation. However, not to have a process in place for what would happen should negotiations collapse would be irresponsible. And what is more, this amendment will ensure that when the Prime Minister sits down to negotiate, our European partners know that she does so with the full backing of Parliament. Far from binding the Prime Minister, it strengthens her hand. And I would encourage all my colleagues to recognise that this amendment empowers both Parliament and our negotiators. It lays out a contingency should disaster strike, and it delivers on a commitment to take back control to Parliament.
Order, a 3-minute limit will now apply. Mr. Tom Brake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for selecting Amendment A. My pleasure at being able to speak on this is enhanced by the fact that this opportunity came completely out of the blue. But the principal purpose of this amendment is to provide clarity that in all eventualities there will be the opportunity for people to have a final say on any deal that the government strikes, and also that Parliament will not be left stranded with no deal. With that would come closure of our ports, food shortages, medicine shortages, and general chaos. And if people on the other side don't believe it, I would advise them to go to talk to the Port Authority at Dover to hear from them what they think no deal would mean. So, Mr. Speaker, I make no apology for the fact that I do want to stop Brexit. And I don't think that probably comes as a surprise to many people in this chamber. But I don't actually believe that the amendment that was put forward today by the Right Honourable Member and Learned Member for Beaconsfield, or indeed my own amendment, would actually achieve it. Brexit is a calamity. We are going to be poorer, more insecure, less influential. We will have fewer friends in the world and more enemies as a result, and that is happening already. Now, some members opposite know it and say it. Some members opposite know it and keep quiet. Some members opposite know it and claim the opposite, and I'm not going to embarrass those who shared platforms with me during the referendum campaign who were saying that it would cause calamity, but are now claiming the opposite. Some members opposite know it, or in fact, some members opposite deny it. Their life's ambition has been to achieve Brexit, and they could not possibly accept that it is now doing us harm. I'm happy to give way.
I'm objecting on fine. To put some numbers on this calamity, it's a no-deal Brexit is an 8% damage event to GDP. For context, the 2008 crash was a 2% damage event to GDP. What the over-the-cliff Brexiteers are looking for is to damage the UK economy 4 times the level of the 2008 crash. Well done, guys.
Absolutely. So we understand the calamity that would be no deal, and that's why I think nobody here nor in the European Union believes that the government would actually settle for that because of the consequences that it would have on our economy. I'll just make a bit more progress in the minute and a half that's left. Now, there would be a chorus of the will of the people from the other benches if time allowed. But the will of the people, 2 points I'd make about that. 2 years on from the 23rd of June 2016, who is clear in terms of what the will of the people now is? And of course, the whole purpose of providing a final say on the deal is to test whether the will of the people is the same now as it was 2 years ago. And the final point I would make is whether we are, as members of Parliament, delegates or representatives. We are elected to use our judgment from the PM downwards, who campaigned to remain because she used her judgment and thought that Brexit would cause us damage and would cause damage to communities up and down the country. Many members opposite used their judgment then. I'm afraid that their judgment now seems to have left them. And the government's own assessment confirmed that the impact of Brexit is going to be wholly negative. So the delegates in this House will push on with a policy that is detrimental to British families. The representatives in this House will recognise that a way out of this ideological nightmare that we've got ourselves into has to be found. And so today, we will be able to decide, we'll be able to demonstrate which of those two things we are, delegates or representatives. Thank you.
Mr. Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think my right honourable and learned friend, the member for Beaconsfield, got it absolutely right in his response to the chairman of the Brexit Select Committee, that the constitutional power of this House is entirely unaffected by these amendments or the written ministerial statement that will be laid tomorrow. The powers, the authority of the rights of this House remain intact, and that is not dependent on whether a meaningful vote is amendable or unamendable. Mr. Speaker, as an historian of this House and its powers, you know perfectly well that the Norway debate was held on the adjournment of the House, whether it should adjourn or not for the Whitsun recess. That led, that great issue of the time, whether Whitsun should have a few days off, led to a fundamental change in the government and the whole history of our nation that flowed from it. Unamendable motions. I do apologise, Honourable Lady, I won't give way because other people want to speak and time is very short. So the rights of this House are intact. I think the legislation will ensure that the government can pursue its objectives, and that is very important, and the Chief Whip is in his place, and I would like to commend him for the tactful way he has discussed these issues with so many people over the last week to ensure that we could come to something that everybody on this side of the House is able to agree to and put their names to, that maintains the privileges of this House, ensures the government can negotiate properly, and sends the Prime Minister to the negotiating table, and my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State, with a united House of Commons behind him.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak today, and I will make just a couple of remarks. Mr. Speaker, I want to reiterate the argument, the comments that have been made, that this is not about reversing Brexit and not about tying the hands of the government. This is about what happens and the role of Parliament if things go wrong. Mr. Speaker, it is about clarity, about what will happen in this Parliament and in the interest of our country in the event of no deal or no deal being agreed by this House. It is incredibly disappointing to have reached this position. It could have been so different. Mr. Speaker, a week after the referendum, I wrote to the then Prime Minister. I then wrote to the current Prime Minister, and I made the argument that it was in the interest of our country that this House came together, that we had ways of working across party and across this House, the House of Commons and the House of Lords, the other place, and that we came to a solution together and we worked through the issues together. But step by step, Mr. Speaker, we have seen a government that has run and a government that is hidden. A government that has not wanted to even bring forward its own impact assessments so that we can take place in an evidence-based debate about the impact of Brexit on our country and get the answer right. Mr. Speaker, a process by which this country comes together is essential. It's what happens in the autumn, is that we reach a situation where what was unthinkable becomes thinkable, and to have a way in which we handle that is our responsibility. Mr. Speaker, every large government project has a risk register, is a critical risk for our country, and it is vital that in advance of such a situation, we all know what's going to happen, and that we have a say on behalf of our constituents for what could be an incredibly catastrophic situation for our economy, our country and our society.
I would like to accommodate further speakers. Mr. Kenneth Clark.
Mr. Speaker, I shall make the shortest speech here I've made for very many years. Well, the government is restricting debate on this European issue as ferociously as it's trying to restrict votes and powers. I voted against both the previous timetable motions. With no explanation, we've been told we've got an hour and a half. Presumably, in order to allow time for an interesting debate that follows, taking note on the subject of NATO, which could be tabled any time in the next fortnight and has no urgency whatever. So none of us allowed to say very much about it. The government throughout has been trying to minimise the parliamentary role in the process. That is only too obvious. I'll try to avoid repeating anything that others have said, but the fact is it started with an attempt to deny the House any vote on the invocation of Article 50, and it required litigation to change that. And the issue of a Grieve vote has been resisted to was first proposed, and the government suffered a defeat in this House at the earlier stages of our proceedings before they would contemplate it, and then they assured us they wouldn't try to reverse that. There would be a meaningful vote. But actually, because that amendment needs amplification, the bill needs to be made clearer, we now have this vital last stage of the Lord's amendments and the final attempt to spell out what meaningful votes and parliamentary influence is supposed to mean, and it's being resisted to the very last moment. Last week, I thought the government was going to be defeated because of its resistance. I was not invited into the negotiations because I don't blame the Chief Whip for that in the slightest. I've not fallen out with him personally, but I think he knew I would take a rather firm line because I saw nothing wrong with Lord Hailsham's amendment if nothing else was available. My right honourable and honourable friends, including my right honourable friend for Beaconsfield, actually believed they had undertakings to the Prime Minister, and I believe the Prime Minister gave those undertakings in good faith. He negotiated with a very distinguished member of the government acting on the Prime Minister's behalf, and they reached a firm agreement. That agreement is substantially reflected in the Lord's amendment we have before us now, and they expected that it would be tabled. It was not. And now the government is resisting the very issue upon which a very distinguished member of the government reached a settlement, to use the legal terms, last week, because the government's not be able to live up to its agreement. And we're being asked to substitute, for a perfectly reasonable Lord's amendment, a convoluted thing which will be argued about bringing it to what the Speaker's told us if it ever hasn't been.
Thank you. I'm most grateful to the Father of the House, Mr. Crown, Mr. Christopher Leslie.
Mr. Speaker, there are only two issues I think that come out of this debate. The first is about honour. The Right Honourable Member for Beaconsfield tried to make sure he got a deal from the Prime Minister. She made a promise to him about an amendment, but that promise was not necessarily fulfilled in the interpretation of those members who heard her say that. So the House of Lords had to send back this particular issue today. Now, this issue is definitely about honour because, of course, other members have said they believe that the House can pass resolutions, can pass motions, and even if they aren't necessarily binding, they will be honoured. I believe that the Right Honourable Member for Bakersfield is an honourable man, and he's again taking the government at their word, which takes us to the second issue, because this was about Parliament. And if he has achieved anything, he has moved the government from where the Prime Minister was on the Andrew Marr programme on Sunday, when the Prime Minister said, quote, Parliament cannot tie the hands of government. That's where the Prime Minister was on Sunday. He's managed to extract a statement from the government now saying that it is open for members to table motions, that parliamentary time will be provided, and that it is open for this House and through the Speaker to make sure that motions and decisions can be made. He believes that this is worth having, and it is indeed true that this is a step forward. The difference that I have with him is he believes that the Prime Minister and the government should be given the benefit of the doubt. Yet again, I would suggest that he shouldn't and couldn't necessarily trust their word. That is where we differ.
Yeah. 2-minute limit. Sir William Cash.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Speaker. There is just one fundamental point which I would like to make about this debate, and that is this, that the decision that was taken in the Referendum Act by 6 to 1 in the primacy of this House of Commons and in the House of Lords which endorsed it was to accept that the people of this country would make the decision and not 650 members of Parliament when that decision was taken in the referendum. One word I only need to say about that is this, that we operate in this country and under our constitutional arrangements under a system of parliamentary government, not government by Parliament.
Mr. Chris Bryant,
2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, when I was training to be a priest in the Church of England, my professor of systematic theology was called John Macquarie, and he would often say that he was often asked by parishioners, what is the meaning of God? But actually, the far more important question is, what is the meaning of meaning? And to be honest, that's what it feels as if this afternoon's debate and last week's debate has been about. What is a meaningful vote? And the first answer is a meaningful vote is surely not one which is meaningless. We had a meaningless vote on Monday afternoon on the SO24 debate. It was meaningless because we were considering whether this House has considered the matter of the Sewell Convention. Even if every single member of the House had voted against that, we would nonetheless have considered the matter. This is exactly what we do in statutory instruments as well. We vote on whether we have considered the matter. The government's motion will require the government, not allow the government, require the government to table a neutral motion. And I would just disagree with the Honourable Member for Somerset North East. He said that the vote in 1940 was on the adjournment. It wasn't. It was on whether this House should adjourn for a successive number of days, which was an amendable motion and had effect. I'm not going to explain to him on the line. It was an amendable. I know. Oh, all right.
I did say it was on the Winston recess. I think I covered that point.
But you managed to, the Honourable Member managed to elide the fact that it was an amendable motion and had effect. The point is here, if the government does what its motion says it should do, namely table a neutral motion, I do not think that the written ministerial statement gives the Speaker any power whatsoever to decide that it is not a neutral statement. It gives him absolutely no power. And indeed, if a Speaker were to decide that a neutral motion was suddenly somehow or other not neutral and could be amended, we should remove the Speaker from the chair because he would not be abiding by the standing orders of this House. So, let us make it absolutely clear. Let us make it absolutely clear. neutral motion, it will be a motion that has no meaning whatsoever. Zubri?
That's Mr. Speaker.
Oh, no.
That's out of I am concerned that the editor of the Daily Mail has made a small doll that looks like me and is sticking pins in its throat. And every time I want to speak, I get this wretched infection. But I want to make some very important points, if I may. I completely agree with all the arguments advanced by the Honourable Member for Edinburgh. The history of McCord was a remarkably brave woman. She has been. And I too will be voting for this amendment because I agree with much of what has been said. This needs to be in statute. Now, I'm going to pay real tribute to my right honourable and learned friend, the member for Beaconsfield, who has yet again shown outstanding leadership and courage, as indeed have many honourable members in the House of Lords. And in tribute to them, if nothing else, I shall be voting for this amendment. But primarily, I shall be voting for this amendment because it's in the interests of all my constituents. I was elected to come here to represent all of them. That's the 53% that didn't vote for me, and it's the 48% that voted to remain. You've been sidelined and abused, and the big mistake that we have made is from the outset of all that has followed from the referendum result, we have not included them. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I would say gently to the member for Shipley, what he has to remember is that there are honourable members who will be voting with the government today as an act of faith and trust in the Prime Minister, that sort of comment will no longer exist in this party, and that we will be more united. And it's her role, if I may say, to make sure that we have more temperate speeches.
Mr. George Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Like my right honourable friend, the member for Leeds Central, I hold the right honourable learned gentleman for Beaconsfield in very high regard for his integrity and his fluency. I do, however, say very gently that he is in danger of turning into a modern-day Grand Old Duke of York. And there are only so many times you can march the troops up the hill and down again without losing completely integrity. I just want to, in the little time that's remaining to Mr. Speaker, to talk about negative motions, which is the centre of this dispute.
Order. The question is that Amendment B be made. As many as I've had a bit in say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. Aye. Division, clear the lobby.
us for the ayes, Jeff Smith and Nick Smith. Tell us for the noes, Stuart Andrew and Andrew Stevenson.
303. The noes to the left, 319.
The ayes to the right, 303. The noes to the left, 319. So the noes have it. The noes have it. Unlock. The question is the government motion that this House agrees with the Lords in their amendments 19C to 19E, 19G to 19L, and 19P, and proposes the amendments to Lord's Amendment 19P as on the amendment paper. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye! Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes. I must now put a single question to agree with the Lords in all of the remaining Lords' proposals. I simply remind the House of that with which I feel sure it is closely familiar. 4B to 4E, 24C, and 110B to 110J. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye! Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order. We now come to the general debate. I hesitated only because a couple of members have beetled up to the chair, indicating a desire to raise points of order, but they don't now seem inclined to do so. We now come... Indeed. Yes, very well. Okay, members who don't wish to attend to these points of order could beetle out of the chamber quickly and quietly. That will be very much to the advantage of the House. If members who are leaving could do so quickly and quietly, it would then be possible for me to hear the points of order.
Right, all done. Are we still live?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So looks like a government win. Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I was on the fence, to be honest. I wasn't really. Yeah, I wasn't really, just. I don't know how to say it. Like, I couldn't make my mind up about what was going to happen. So.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was hopeful, but I didn't want to jinx it.
Yeah, exactly, because you had all the, all the Parliament wins already, but this is a pretty big one. This is probably the biggest out of all of them. So I was a bit apprehensive about making a decision on that.
Yeah, but Grieve obviously backed right down completely.
Oh, yeah, and it's weird. Like, the Tory rebels, a lot of them, they talk big, but they don't vote big. That's the problem.
I know. It'd be interesting to see Subri and that lot voted.
Yeah.
By the sound of her, she was going to vote against, wasn't she?
Yeah. Yeah, I've just had a look at the pound, and it's gone it's jumped 12. No, sorry, 0.12%. So I think it will recover a bit after this.
Yes, so it was obviously that they thought there was a possibility the government would be defeated.
Yeah, I personally think the government could last probably till the end of the year. That's what I think.
I really don't think there's anyone wants to take it over.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and all the time that happens, and does anyone else really want to do the negotiations? You know, does anyone else want to go to the EU? Probably not.
Not really. Well,
And
in the government and Labour, I think neither of them really want to leave. I know it's a bit weird because you've got a Remainer PM who's being pulled by Brexit PMs, and you've got a Brexit opposition leader who's being pulled by Remainer opposition MPs. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
yeah, and also I'm just reading. Sorry, I lost my track because I'm just reading. Angels says, "Wow, word on grapevine is Dominic Grieve was given an official concession in writing at the 11th hour." Well, it didn't sound from the others as if, you know, they weren't very jubilant, were they?
No, I'll have a look on Twitter, see what happens.
Yeah, see what it's
yeah. EU withdrawal bill.
I think it's probably more a case of the whip coordinated all they had against, you know, that could be used against them, and they used it, which is what they do.
Yeah. I think it's Twitter's going to start to blow up now. What was it? Let's just read this. I was just reading on Twitter. Pompous elitist air conditioner greyling will be foaming at the mouth and find a way to spin Tory Grieve's decision to vote with his party as lying at Corbyn's door. That's true, though.
Well, the FBE, I can say
FBP. Yeah, no, I'm used to saying it. It's all right.
Yeah, they were all going mad yesterday.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I don't know. Are they? It seems to me like there's some sort of cult that, you know how you have like a pack of dogs that, you know, just goes mad when they, you know, that sort of thing. They're like that, aren't they?
Well, I always have visions of the Brexit bus without the sign on it, but full of FBPE types, and they chortle, quick, there's something happening, let's all get in. They get in the bus and go to a tweet, and then they all say their little bit, and then they all get back on and toddle off to the next tweet.
I'm just reading the tweets as they come in. A really funny one for a Remainer, actually. It says, seriously, towards the end of that, I thought it was a game of battleships. 4B to 40, 24C, and 110B to 110J. What? Battleships. That's quite funny. For all the talk of rebellion, it was a bit of a damp squib in the end.
It was. I'm just reading. Hold on, I just finished typing a reply. I'm reading Jack James's.
Yeah.
He says, I heard they told him vote with the whip or find a new job, and I reckon that's it. They've had time since the last time to gather all the dirt.
Yeah.
You know, and all the bits to use as leverage, and it was basically toe the line or you're out, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Just scrolling down. He withdrawal bill. Why did Dominic Grieve vote against his own amendment? Yeah, here's another one.
He didn't actually, well, in the bit we heard, he didn't actually say, I've changed. He was sort of waffling, wasn't he?
Yeah, and here's FBPE has reacted to it. And one of the FBPE says, I don't understand any of the EU withdrawal bill now, but I know I'm very disappointed.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
I wonder what Femi said.
Oh, let's have a look. I'll go to his Twitter. Or he might, you never know, he might be
maybe he's a double agent.
Yeah, he might be silent. Be like, I'm not gonna apply to this.
Yeah. Six
His
Tory rebels.
last tweet he had was from 10 minutes ago. She hasn't replied to it yet.
Right. James Fielding says 6 Tory rebels and the 4 Labour Brexiteers voted with the government.
Oh, okay.
So that's good. I mean, without, I presume that's who Skinner.
Yeah.
You know, the 4 that was before. Without them, we'd be a lot worse off, wouldn't we? They've really kept it together and just added that little bit extra every time.
Yeah. Oh, here's one FBP is reacted actually. If MPs are unable to make decisions on Brexit and keep delaying the moment of truth, that's understandable. Brexit is a big deal. Today displays the need for a hashtag people's vote on the deal. If responsibility is to be given to someone, let it be the people, not the speaker.
What's their name?
YEM UK.
Oh, right. No, not one I've seen, because there's some of them pop up all the time.
Yeah. Seems Parliament voted to make itself irrelevant, like Germany in 1933. Here's another FBP.
Yeah, I didn't really understand though. They were saying something, and I was reading something about the speaker's now got to make the decision.
Yeah.
And that Grieve was given in so that the speaker will decide whether or not they get a meaningful vote, or whether the vote is meaningful. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, well, apparently that's. I think it was on the BBC website I was reading. I'll see if I can bring it up again. I'm pretty sure it was on the BBC News. And it said that now the speaker has got to make the decision. That's why Dominic Grieve gave in. Which seemed very...
Oh, and then FBP asked, why did he back down again when talking about Grieve?
Yeah, now where's that one?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find where it was.
Oh, here's another one. So much for the rebels that claim to know how much harm Brexit will do to the constituents in our country. Where are they? Hashtag FBP, hashtag Brexit shambles, hashtag meaningful vote.
I do like their hashtags.
Yeah. No, I actually tweeted out the link to the Hangout to FBP, see what happened, but I don't know, why did they reply? It's loads of impressions, but they don't reply to it.
Well, because I don't think a lot of them are actually just individual people.
Oh.
I think they're either paid up people sitting in a little call centre.
Yeah.
Doing the tweets. Or they won't go anywhere alone. They don't. They literally don't. You get one comment and they've always got a little buddy backing them up.
Yeah. Someone's talking about the People's Vote March as well.
Oh, not again.
Oh, no.
That. Right.
Yeah.
Look, here you go. I've got this thing. Here you go. It came, that's the agreement by Grieve to back down. It came after ministers agreed the Speaker would be able to decide if MPs had the power to amend a motion and what to do if there is no agreement with the EU. It just says no agreement with the EU.
Yeah.
MP Dominic Grieve said the sovereignty of Parliament had been acknowledged. And another potential rebel, Nicky Morgan, said this amounted to a meaningful vote and she would back it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do you understand that?
I don't know. What's it with these Tory rebels? It's all bark and no bite. That's the problem. It's just, I don't know.
Well, why is it suddenly the speaker?
I don't know, but I think I think they say what they think, but they don't do what they think because they know if
Well,
they
they know they'd be out of a job, don't they?
exactly that's the problem. If they do anything and they bring the government down, then they know it's going to backfire on them. So all they can really do is say they're going to vote against it, but then not do it.
Yeah, and also it doesn't say where it says ministers agreed the speaker could decide.
Yeah.
Do they mean after an agreement has been reached or not reached, or
Yeah.
when?
Hmm.
It says if the speaker will decide if MPs had the power to amend a motion on what to do. So if he says no, you don't have. I mean, it just sounds really weird.
Yeah.
Talk about fudge. That sounds like definite double fudge.
Yeah. Interesting. My Twitter. I don't know. My Twitter isn't. Well, oh, it's just loaded now. I think it must have blown up because of all the FBP. Oh, here's another one. They're blaming Corbyn again. All Corbyn's fault. He alone could stop Brexit. Hashtag FBP.
Oh, not again.
Oh my god. Oh, it's all blowing up now.
Well, this is what they keep saying.
Yeah.
The FBP mob just blame Corbyn full stop.
Yeah.
Again,
I don't
you've
know,
got to wonder.
I think Cameron has said they're not really lefties. They're all Blairites.
Yeah. And also, are they actually in it to get rid of Corbyn rather than...
Probably. I think they hate Corbyn more than they hate the EU, to be honest. Like, it's more than they hate Brexit. I just think they don't... I don't know. Are they neoliberal stooges or something? I don't know.
Well, that's what you've got to wonder, haven't you? I'd say there's certainly a percentage of them that are stooges.
I've got another one. Sort it, Corbyn. Hashtag FBP. When he's talking about Grieve. Oh, God.
Yeah, Richard Wheeler says 6 Tory MPs rebelled to support the meaningful vote.
Oh, here we are. Here's another one.
Heidi Allen, Ken Clark, Philip Lee, Antoinette Sandbach, Anna Soubry and Sarah Wollaston.
Yeah.
Where Frank Field, Kate Hoey, John Mann and Graham Stringer voted, they rebelled and voted against it.
Yeah. Here we are. Another People's March, People's Vote March thing. I'm absolutely gutted by what has happened in Parliament today. Instead of having meaningful vote in Parliament, it allowed some technical procedure, basically trusting May to grant it. Absolutely need as many people on Saturday for hashtag People's Vote March, hashtag FBP, hashtag WATON.
Right. People's right.
I love the fact that Open Britain is quoting Dominic Grieve. You made a historic mistake in voting to leave, and yet he voted against his own thing. I just find that funny.
Yeah, well, it just seems. I mean, the whole thing seems like a bit of a.
Oh gosh.
And
The next step. Oh, here's another FBP. The next step: customs union plus a single market in goods. Another cabinet battle in which the likelihood of the EU accepting the idea doesn't feature. But if it's won, the game's essentially over for the hard Brexiteers. If it's lost, time to start stockpiling essentials. Hashtag FBP, hashtag People's Vote.
But the Lords have already just pushed it through that we don't have to stay in the customs union or the single market. They agreed that when they sent the meaningful vote back.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one. Tory rebels. Oh, this one's talking about the hypocrisy of FBP. It says Tory rebels once again refusing to live up to their billing. Still, obviously, Corbyn's fault.
Yeah.
Oh,
it says another one says 6 Conservative voted for the Grieve meaningful vote amendment, which Grieve himself didn't vote for. Yeah, Ian Duncan Smith raised his arms in triumph at the vote.
Yeah. Let's see, the FBP hasn't really, a lot of them haven't piled in yet. I've only seen about 10 or so already.
Yeah, this one says everyone who hasn't pre-booked a unicorn with their breakfast with their Brexit dividend to get out and march on Saturday. That'll be the next.
I haven't booked my ticket, but I'm just thinking there's no point in me going. It's just be ridiculous.
Well, do you really want to be there with a load of?
No, I don't know. I can still book. I can still buy my T-shirt, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I was going to buy a Brexit T-shirt for the occasion, but I still might do. I still might buy a Brexit T-shirt because it's still going to be 23rd of June. So.
Jack says he's marching. Are you marching for the people's vote, Jack? In favour?
Yeah.
What's GG for?
Oh, George Galloway for question time. You know, for him to lead question time. Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
I wondered what he was on about.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah. I reckon it would really liven it up, wouldn't it? Be a whole new
but then he'd be like, instead of attacking I can imagine he's going to start attacking the gammons of the audience.
Yeah, he would. He'd say, come up here and tell me that.
Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah, but I mean, he's probably the only one that can actually deal with the gammons, to be fair.
I think he'd be good.
Yeah.
And at least, you know, if the BBC kept rolling out the same load of talent they do at the moment, it's always the same.
Because it's normally either Tories, Blairites, or Remainers that make up most of the panel. That's what I don't like.
Yeah, and George would destroy them, wouldn't he?
Yeah. David, leave question time, says Adam West. Yeah, we've known this for a couple of days now. Hashtag People's Choice for question time. How about instead of the People's Vote March, we'll go and march on BBC headquarters instead on Saturday?
Yeah, George Galloway for question time.
Yeah. People's Choice, yeah. Yeah, we should have you know what, we should have a referendum for question time.
Yeah.
I'd love one.
Yeah. Can you imagine their faces if George was voted in?
Yeah.
Someone here, Toby Perkins, says Tory MPs cheering to the rafters at denying themselves a meaningful vote in the name of taking back control. Get it?
Taking back control. Ugh. Honestly, I hate that phrase. When it's used by both sides, I just hate it. It's too toxic.
Yeah, I mean, they just won't get back to basics that what we voted for was to leave the EU.
Yeah, but they're taking back control. Is take back control of the Brexit process and give it to the EU. Well, that's the problem.
Yeah. And also, they're just, you know, they're typical MPs, the Tory rebels. They're all gas and gators, aren't they? You know, they're all talk, but when it comes to it, they think of the money in their job, which for us is good because we don't want them to.
Yeah, they done that and BBC didn't report it. What's this about?
Oh, I like this one. Naz Shah has just been wheeled into the chamber in a wheelchair, wearing a hospital bracelet and carrying a sick bucket. The government reportedly refused to agree to the usual convention that unwell MPs are allowed to stay in the car park and be counted from there.
Oh, also Angels is leaving. She's saying, anyway, back to work, then Pokemon Go time.
Right.
Good exercise, though. Yeah, it's good exercise, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 week George Galloway, then Russell Brand, then someone else, etc. I'll have to have a look at that. Oh, I don't know. I'd be a good question time host. I'd be good.
Yeah, as long as they voted Brexit, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably have a go at the right wingers a little bit on their strategy, but that's their strategy. It's not the fact they vote to leave, you know.
Did you know Laura Piddock was heavily pregnant?
Oh, she was, yeah, she was. I thought, wasn't she going to have a kid, or had she already had it? So I heard she was...
heavily pregnant MPs Joe Swinson and Laura Piddock also fought to turn up in person.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think she announced a while back she was going to have a kid, so she must
Oh,
be still
I knew
pregnant.
Joe Clinton was, but I thought I
Oh.
hadn't seen much of Laura Piddock around.
Yeah, no, she's going to have a kid this year, so.
Yeah, I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
How did I miss that out?
It was a while ago, I think she announced it, a few months ago.
I must have been away that day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how I don't know how Dennis Skinner would have voted, or didn't he vote at all? I don't know. That'd be interesting.
I imagine he voted with Labour. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't say he would have either abstained. I think they were they they kind of abstained, not with those sort of figures. What were the figures?
319 to 303 or something like that. 319 to 307, I think. So that is pretty much.
No, there's 612 MPs, isn't there?
Well, 650 total, but I don't know how many turned up.
Right. No, I don't know. Yeah, he probably either abstained. I've got thing that will tell me that if I I can get back into it. I don't know. I'll have a look and see. I'm just getting into the Commons Vote app that I've got on my.
Yeah, is it that one with the green tick?
Yeah, it's quite useful that.
Oh, it's today, 3:45. Is it Division 191? Must be that one today.
I don't know. Hold on, I'm just in the thing at the moment.
No, it's against my party, Labour. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's the 4 rebels. Let's eyes in favour. Let's have a look.
Skinner voted aye.
Oh, so he supported Labour's position. Okay.
Yeah.
Bit sad, but.
Yeah, shame.
But he voted against.
Labour.
Yeah, but he voted against most of the amendments anyway. So.
Yeah. I thought Labour were going to make them all abstain, but obviously they didn't.
I think people have been saying they're going to try and bring down the government. Maybe that's what is.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were 622 voted today, but it doesn't list the abstentions, so there could possibly have been some.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, here's a Remainer saying, absolutely, the FBP trolls have successfully wrecked the pro-Remain campaign. Hopefully they are happy with the hard Brexit they achieved. But that's what I sort of thankful for FBP are, because they've sort of exposed the sinister nature of the Remain campaign. That's what I like about it.
Yeah. That is, I mean, they often serve the purpose of showing up.
Yeah.
What we'd like to show up. But if we said it, they wouldn't believe us because we're leavers.
Yeah. 6 Tory MPs. Oh, here's the FBP saying. I love the name. Haggis UK FBP.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one before.
Okay. Here are the 6 Tory MPs who voted against the government. Thank you for putting the country first. Just a pity few more weren't willing to do so. So, yes, it was Heidi Allen, Ken Clark, Philip Lee, and Truman. Okay, so I've only heard about 4 of the 6 of them I've actually heard of.
Say the 6 again.
The 6, Heidi Allen, Ken Clark, Philip Lee, obviously the guy who resigned. Antoinette Sandbach.
Yeah, she's the one that we were saying we don't like. She's the big woman.
Oh yeah, the blonde hair.
With sort of longish blonde, yeah.
Yeah. And then Sarah Wollaston.
Yeah, she's another one with fair hair. She's a medical doctor.
Yeah, medical doctor. I know a couple of doctors in Labour actually. I think there are a few in Labour too.
Yeah, and they usually tend to be quite anti-Brexit.
Yeah. No, well, respect to them. I do like the stuff they do on the NHS, though. I do respect to them at least on that.
I
But
do enjoy
anti-Brexit, yeah. I do think I know a couple that voted against, Brexit stuff, but I'm not sure how many there are in total.
There's someone saying FBPE is played so perfectly into Theresa May, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Boris Johnson, Rupert Murdoch, and Paul Dacre's hands. They'll soon be the dictionary definition of useful idiots.
Yeah.
Like that. It's tempting to think Grieve and Rees-Mogg were just
talking about Dominic Grieve. Someone made a funny comment about FBP. The sound you can hear is FBPE melting down his statue while referring to Grieve for silver bullets to shoot their other foot off with.
The trouble is they never shut up. They just sort of keep reiterating the same old. Now they haven't got that to talk about. They go back to the original sort of, it was only advisory. Why aren't you opposing?
Oh yeah, fair play FBP. Talking about the,
yeah, that's quite a good one. That one.
Oh god, FBP, man. Through the comments. Who's the Matthew? Did you spell that name right? WHRIGH. I don't know who he is. Matthew Rye. I've never heard of him.
Say that spelling again.
Adam West in the side chat. Yeah, Adam West in the side chat. He's talking about question time.
Maybe that's supposed to be right.
Right.
Right. It's probably supposed to have a T on the end.
Yeah, might be. I've never heard of that person before, so.
No, I've never seen that. I've never heard of him.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, but I mean, I'll check pound sterling live. I see pound's gone up a bit more after. Because it's shot down. I think like 1 or 2% of the past couple of days. It's gone back over $1.32, so it's gone up 0.24% since the vote already. So.
Good. The Bank of England might have done a bit of.
And it's risen 0.25% against the euro too, as well.
Right.
So
in other words, you would think that people actually think Brexit is more positive than negative.
No, I just think it's market certainty, to be honest. I mean, I've heard rumours, even from sort of more pro-Remain sort of analysts, saying the pound could go up to about $1.40 to $1.50 by the end of the year if a deal is reached, and it could go beyond $1.50 to about $1.55 to ish in mid 2019. That's what I've heard. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I guess it's just getting through the end of it, and not to mention that the dollar. I've heard them saying the dollar's going to go back down again. So I'm not surprised if it goes back to $1.40 in a few months. Oh, hi, Cameron.
Hi, Cameron.
Hello. I'm back now.
Oh, so yeah, what do you think?
Did anything happen?
No, the government got their amendment through. Got their way. They didn't. Grieve 2 didn't go through. So.
Did you hear the result?
And the meaningful vote.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 3. Yeah. Sorry.
Wasn't there 2 votes? 2 more than 1 vote, wasn't there?
2.
Yeah, but I think they were just passed. They seem to be just passed without anyone saying no.
Yeah.
There was a whole string of them.
So yes, 303 for the amendment. No's 319 against the amendment. So it won. So it's similar margin to what it was for the previous votes, anyway.
Yeah. Nothing changed, did it?
No, nothing has changed, as Theresa May would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that
Yeah, and I was just having a look at the pound sterling, and it's already risen 0.25% against the dollar and the euro. So I guess it's just, I've seen analysts saying that the pound to dollar could go back to $1.40 by the end of the year. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's just getting a deal at this point. Because I think more negative for the pound, it's not Brexit. I think it's the fact that the government might collapse. So.
Yeah, and Cameron, did you see who voted which way? We were just talking about that. We looked it up.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, Subury, who was the other? Subury, Wollstonecraft, the big woman with the fair hair, Ken Clark, and somebody else. Who was the other? Oh, and
Philip Lee. Remember the guy that resigned.
Yeah, they were the only ones that rebelled against the government.
Yeah, but then the usual, Remainer rebellers anyway, the usual suspects.
Yeah, and there were the usual 4 on the Labour side that rebelled.
I believe. I don't know why. It's a bit weird because I seriously think there are more than 12 Labour leavers in the party, but they won't show their faces at all.
I'm sure there are more than 12.
Well, if you were there, what would you do? Would you rather vote the government to go down, or trust the Tories to Brexit?
I think they'd rather see the government collapse, to be honest.
Oh, exactly. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, but
Dennis Skinner voted for the amendment with his party, so not surprised.
Yeah.
Because he's voted against every single EU treaty, so yeah.
I would like someone know. I was just saying, Cameron, that the BBC News website says that Grieve agreed to drop his amendment and rely on the Speaker deciding whether or not they can vote on a meaningful vote amendment. I mean, it was like, I just don't understand. Yeah.
Well, Laura Goose Lucius, he's toothless, but it's all words, but no action.
But that's what I've noticed with the Tory rebels. Apart from the usual suspects, they're all bark but no bite. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, but I'd like to know what it means. What does it mean that they're going to let the Speaker decide?
I've never heard of that term before at all, so I don't know.
Well, I suppose he does sort of say whether or not something's legal sometimes, doesn't he? Because that's why he's got the clerk sitting there to advise him as well.
Yeah. And then he reads out all, when the SNP do their antics, whatever, and then he reads out all the rules, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's supposed to be an expert on what you can do and can't do.
Yeah.
But
and wasn't it like, you can't tell me the rules, that sort of thing? Remember, he was like,
because the Speaker is like the adjudicator. He decides.
Yeah, he's like, people say it's like a headmaster and then dealing with year 7s, isn't it?
Yeah, but I can't see why Grieve would put it in the hands of the Speaker. It just seems like an odd.
Yeah.
Do you understand that, Cameron?
No, I don't. So, what about you, Cameron? I have no idea.
What is it? I'll literally zoned out. I'll literally focus on something else for a second.
Oh, sorry. That's all right.
All right. I'll see if I can bring it up again. I'll read. Here you go. It says, it came after ministers agreed the Speaker would be able to decide if MPs had the power to amend a motion on what to do if there is no agreement in Parliament. No agreement on the EU. That was why Grieve stood down, because ministers agreed that the Speaker would decide.
He's useless. But end of the day, he knows what John Berkel's going to do. He knows his political position on this.
Yeah, but I mean, I was saying to. Yeah, I mean, if Berko decides no, you can't amend the motion, what do they do?
Yeah, because I've heard Burko, he used to be very right-wing, but then he became sort of a centrist, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't know, it just seems like an odd... Why would you give all that power away and let the Speaker decide on whether you can then have a vote or not? There must be more to it. That must be an excuse, I think.
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, I need somebody that is really sort of into the power of the Speaker to know,
that
they could say, yeah, this means so and so. Yeah, Adam West is saying the Speaker gets final say,
interesting.
which is what the BBC is saying, but why would Grieve agree to that?
I don't know. That's a bit weird.
Yeah,
but it's Tories. They're all slimy, aren't they? That's the problem. You can't really. They say one thing, but then they won't do it, or they'll do something different. That's sort of...
Yeah, there's something in the poor eels, basically.
Yeah.
The only more principled ones, which really annoys me, are the right wingers. They're more principled than the Liberals, aren't they, in the Tory party?
Yeah, and they don't argue they don't keep sort of arguing amongst themselves.
I don't understand. It's like the true left and right are more principled than the the slimy centrists within both parties.
Yeah. Whereas
I guess it's just politics in general. Like centrism isn't really a principled position, is it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Laura Krinsberg says the government will be relieved to have avoided another defeat, but closeness after compromise suggests big problems ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to... I've heard that they might want to compromise and stay in the single market now, which I don't know. But if true, they're destroyed at the next election.
Well, if you do that, Labour just maintain its position, and all the Brexiteers will vote for Labour.
Exactly. I mean, because in that case, Tories would say single market and customs union, whereas Labour would be like, oh, just customs union. I mean, who would you vote for? I'd vote for the lesser of the two remains.
No, it's to put Labour in.
Yeah. I mean,
imagine FPVs in that scenario.
Oh God! But they'd all vote. They'd all vote for. I know.
Yeah, can you imagine it? We'd have what's his name in Parliament.
Huh?
If the FDP, Guy whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd be in Parliament if the FBPE mob had their...
Oh yeah, no, they'd be like, oh, he might be a Belgian, but let's put him anyway because he's our guy.
Yeah. They put him in, as what do you call it, caretaker government.
Yeah.
So Jim Pickard, whoever he is, says the Grieve rebellion has vaporised.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have such a bad joke on this. Grieve has grieved so much over Brexit that he can grieve no more.
Yeah, he said. This is all Laura Krinsberg. She says Grieve used this moment to raise concerns about the tone of the debate and whether things have gone completely mad.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'll probably wrap this up soon, but I mean, I might do a stream tomorrow if more people want to join. Like, if we had Angels or James on, maybe tomorrow I can discuss it with them. But I mean, I'll probably wrap this up now because I probably need to head home. So, and then
we probably done it to death.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, even as a Brexiteer, I'm just sick of Brexit at this point because they're not fighting for a proper Brexit. So I'm sick with everyone, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, like they say, like people say Brexit can be easy. It can be relatively easy if people actually do it properly. If they say to the EU, let's trade with each other, let's, here's my position, then what's your position? We can work towards something. Whereas, both sides, both the EU and the Tories are doing a terrible job, aren't they?
Yeah, Will Shafter says Grieve is being interviewed right now on Sky News.
Interesting.
Let me see.
Yeah. Cameron, if you want to do a stream after I finish this, I'm more than happy for you to. But I mean, I'm probably gonna head home, so.
Probably not. I'm a bit busy in the next few hours.
Okay. I mean, I probably wrap this up now then, I guess.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It looks as if Grieve has already been and gone by the look of it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. Oh, thanks for that. It was good.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm glad I streamed the debate as best I could anyway. But I mean, thanks for sort of sharing the audio because I need to have a look at this. I might message Stizer because I don't know why is mine always laggy. It's interesting.
Well, yours wasn't. I couldn't hear sounds from yours
No,
at all.
I said my system sounds to be full and everything. I don't know, but I mean, I'll have to.
Yeah, I tried sharing a game with Hangouts. It was a bit laggy. It wasn't laggy as that.
Oh God, I remember the time I tried to share some GTA 5 gameplay and then it lagged like mad. I don't know. Hangouts is just terrible for sharing. Like,
yeah, well, you know, could you hear my sound clearly?
Sound was good. Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, that was just from my little iPad Mini.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. It was quite clear. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
At least we could listen to it anyway.
Yeah, yeah. No, listening, I think it was all right because I could at least sort of hear where people are coming from, so it was all right.
Yeah, and actually, sometimes if you're watching, you get a bit distracted by all the carrying on and face pulling and yelling and that. Whereas if you've just got the sound, it's a bit more focused because the mic's on that person, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll probably wrap this up now. So, I mean, thanks everyone for watching, and I might do a stream, like, maybe next day or two, or if not, then always tune into Swiss's Sunday stream, because he's probably going to cover this anyway. So, I mean, yeah, thanks guys for watching, and of course, like and subscribe. And, yeah, I'll put everyone's, Cameron's and Abby's stuff in the description. So, yeah, like, follow and subscribe to them too. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys.